Let's start podcast number 2, Dan.
Sounds good to me.
So podcast number 2 of MFG Monkey, manufacturing monkey coming from Columbus, Ohio.
Here to have some fun today, go over some great topics with everybody. Looking at some of our notes and some of the stuff we hit on before. If you guys listen to our first podcast, we are a smaller business, with a small market, and I know, Dustin, is something you want to talk about too. Just, what's the most challenging thing for us being in a small market of keeping the lights on?
The most challenging thing is, I think I'll just iterate off of the first one is staying consistent and not getting distracted by the shiny things in the corner. So I think that a lot of companies, including myself, will see something shiny and they go after it and they get off track of, what their core competencies are.
Yeah, what makes us good and, obviously what makes them good. But I think, you got to be smart with your budgeting too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everyone wants to do more than what they can afford, and it's vital to stick to your budget and be disciplined with your money.
And, speaking about budgets and just everything that's going on that we're seeing right now, coronavirus is huge and it's hitting manufacturing hard because,
Yes.
They're not even in their factories. They're not even working over in China and overseas. So, just open up and let's talk about how that's affecting us and, some of the things that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We work with quite a few shops in China and Taiwan, and we have a couple shops that they aren't even allowed back in the facility yet. So one of our facilities that we work with, they are having to get special permitting from the government to fire things back up. I saw a video last night that they were actually manpower going around fogging cities and spraying down the sidewalks and completely trying to disinfect the entire country, which is just so crazy looking.
Hitting on that, you got to know what's going on in your business and going on in your market. If you didn't see this and have something in the back burner, or so to say, in case something happens, you could be putting yourself out of business right now if you're getting everything from there. It's something we talked about in the car ride actually on the way over here is, having all your eggs in one basket. If somebody has that right now, they could be desperately hurting. And, you've stated to me multiple times, that's something that you never completely want to do, because if that one contract or that one egg breaks, you're done.
Yeah. And that's, my idea when we first started out is I wanted, dual or triple source for all of our products that we help people out with. And never in my life did I think that it would come this soon, but we literally are taking advantage of that this actually today. We got a purchase order for product that we typically, it's advantageous to buy out of China. They do a great job. And with what's going on, we ended up getting one of our Ohio partners involved, and they're going to deliver the parts in 6 weeks. So it really, with those folks, the example today, it really saved us and saved the customer.
Why do you think we were still able to win that client, even though price was obviously not the biggest factor with, keeping it domestic instead of going global?
Because they needed it.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you think that they probably could have found and shopped around a little bit, but they still stayed with us. So I thought, I think that goes back to what we said in the episode 1 with just a relationship building, and they trusted us. They knew that we'd get the job done, and we got the job done, even though it cost them a little bit more out of their pocket.
Yeah, and we're managing everything for them. They know that we're going to manage it and get it delivered on time. So they are delivering into a world that they can't be late on. So they're entrusting in us to manage it to make sure that we hit the deadline.
Right. Exciting things coming for us. I know that we're growing. We got a lot of stuff going on, which is, if you're growing, that's always a beautiful thing. But at the same time, We have a great upcoming podcast on the February 28th. We will have Rich Brown on our podcast. And Dustin, if you want to just explain a little bit about Rich and his background, so that they have an idea of what's coming forward.
Yeah, Rich Brown. I've known Rich Brown and his wife for I don't know 10 years or so, and we connect every few years with the one of the big topics right now in the industry is education and like we talked about in the first podcast, uh, just not enough people to fill all the jobs that are available. So Rich Brown is the executive vice president at Compass uh, Tech International, and they are a staffing agency. And he is extremely passionate about education and specifically about education in the manufacturing world.
Yeah, and one of the things also with Rich is just working with the younger youth and growing that educational aspect of jobs and markets and those things. And as we move forward, that's going to be a huge market to grow with.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to start going to college. I see more and more of the younger generations are getting away from it, and Rich is going to hit on some amazing topics when he hits
Yeah.
on that stuff.
Yeah, it's
Um,
going to be a really fun conversation with Rich for sure. Very, very, very knowledgeable.
I know, some of the things that we're getting into is we're getting a lot more into government work and working with the DLA.
Hmm.
And I know you wanted to hit on some of the stuff where they're working with the ground equipment.
We are very fortunate to be working with a lot of the ground equipment manufacturers out there, and we have recently invested in some systems to go after more government work. So I think Dan, you can probably speak to that a little bit better than I can at this point, since you've been the one in the system, kind of fumbling through your way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing just some of the stuff that they have up there, and to keep it. What I love and respect the most about it, and I know this is part of a government thing, but you has to keep it in house, and it just creates jobs in America, creates jobs with factories that are, whether it be in Ohio where we're at, or Minnesota or Illinois or Michigan or California, or wherever the case may be. You see a lot of stuff that is shipped overseas, and I think it kind of hits on what we were talking about earlier with the coronavirus, but nothing's more important than growing here too. So I think you have to have both, because both keeps it all in checks and balances. But it's nice to see how much is out there, and it's that's one of the most amazing things that I've seen from it. And looking at it is just like, wow, there is a lot out there.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. It's very it's hard to navigate. So having the right system to navigate and having the right people teach you, and I think that we teamed up with a great team, a great company to help us navigate those waters and learn and start off small and crawl before we walk type of a mentality. So this year we'll a big part of our business is distribution. So it's definitely one part that we want to grow. I think that it'll be a vital piece of our business moving forward through 2020.
Patience is key with this. I will be 100% honest. It's very, I was telling you earlier today, I feel like, grasping it and then something else comes up, but then it becomes easier and it becomes easier. And I think, when you're working with something that's so government oriented, there's so many, forms and things to fill out to get the access, to get the drawing, to get that, to get into anything that, is very simple when you're talking with what we normally do, where
Hmm.
this is so complex of getting the access just to get something that, normally we find very similar through an email or a
Yeah.
call or so
Yeah.
it's patience, but
Yep.
you got to look at the prize at the end of the road too. So
Yeah, and the fun thing is once we fumble through this and we learn about it, it'll be just another service that we can offer our manufacturers that we work with, because we can sit down with them and walk them through and help them capture another piece of revenue that they haven't had in the past.
and speaking of fumbling, as we continue to get better with the podcast and fumbling through everything, and if you guys are listening to us and you hear us fumbling, it's because we are. We'll admit it. We want questions, topics, things that you guys want to hear. Please get a hold of us. Comment on our podcast. You can look at our LinkedIn. You can look at our Twitter. You can go to almost any social media and look up McMillan Co. And you will find us. And we want to hear from everybody. We want to hear topics. We want to hear things that you want to hear. And we want to have this be fun. So if it's, something goofy or something that you guys do or something that's new, like Marty, the other day we did the broom challenge, at one of our facilities, they had 8 brooms standing up. So, we want to hear about things that are new, obviously more of the manufacturer, not a broom challenge, but things that are going to help us move forward. And we'd love to hear from everybody.
Yeah. And we do, we want this to be kind of laid back, you know, chat, not super over professional. There's plenty of those podcasts out there if you want to go listen to a, super stuffy over professional manufacturing podcasts that, you can find those. I think we're gonna bring a little different flavor to it and be fun with it and have some fun people, on our podcast over the next year or so and just keep rocking and rolling and talk about topics that you guys want to listen to.